Airy stepped out of the auditorium, her hair gently swaying with each stride. Other side, a tall, handsome man with a well-built frame is casually leaning against his bike. One hand is resting on the handbars with placid stance, exuding confidence. His gaze is fixed on some distance, while Yu's eyes lingering in the elder. She felt a brief sensation, but quite quickly disarmed it. But for a wee, everything is different here. Though his gaze is on something far away, his mind is entirely on her. Each day, he had waited outside the auditorium. This is not the first time alluring her seen standing in the stand, but Stalwart's routine remains unwavering. He does as that section sit at the back seat with straight expression, and as the session wrapped up, he would rise before leaving the ambience, but never leaves actually. Instead, he is linger outside, leaning against his bike, placing serenity towards the brilliant being still stated, seated focused in her notes or typing on laptop. Man knows well she loves to read or study, and like that, each day he awaited for her well-beingness as a silent guider of her. It's not the first time she is seeing him here, but Dainty observed him standing there regularly. At first she felt uneasiness, but as the days passed, she felt flattered to his essence, began to sense protectiveness from the way he assured maintaining this passionate ritual. Weeks turned into months, and she is sure that even if she could not see him someday, an assuring feeling like any ember glow within her for sure. But the man is oblivious from her emotions, just like the innocent one is. The pristine girl shifted her bunny ears back on her slim shoulder as she checked on her iPhone when a message from her dad flashed on the screen, telling her he would be late and would not be able to pick her up before hour, making her sign. She sighed softly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, unaware that a pair of deep eyes had never left her since she walked out, the elder still leaning in his calm posture, watching her small frown seizing on thin brow as his heart stares at the scenery of pristine. And even the tiny furrow on her brows unsettles him in a way he could not explain, and he hated the idea that she sighed sadly, no matter even if only for a moment. Just then makeshift his stance, tempting to step forward as he finally leaned off from heavy bike before midway towards Liu. He moved with placidness, though his heart ripped from which each step he is making towards one who is arrested his attention, craving passion within stuffed chest as he approached, soon standing with his tall, ripped built frame protectively close to her delicate one. He stepped just near enough to feel her presence, but not to see close to discomfort her precious beingness, unaware from the scenario of alluring who felt present flutter in her sensitive heart from the essence each day whose shadow towered her. She silently turned at his arrival, looking in mild surprise, unsure of why athlete his hair. Her round eyes met intense gaze, hearing the deep but voice. "Something bothering you?" he asked in straight few words, but carrying a weight that only fragile one understood, bringing a subtle ease on her for her. She glanced up at him, feeling a subtle sense of reassurance in Elder's presence, and soon her soft voice shattered the quiet air between them. "My dad messaged me that he is going to be late today because of some work, but I have to get some home as I have to go somewhere," Loli said. As she spoke, the stout listened with patience, each delicate movement from the blink of her eyelashes to the subtle tension in her voice did not go unnoticed by the attentive stare, as if words of pristine form carries more weight to be than she could ever imagine. A faint flutter lingers in her chest while she stares at him softly as realization settles in her slowly. The stalwart who had always seemed so distant is now standing before her with a gentleness she had never associated with him. Delicate processed his words before adding, nodded her hair swayed gracefully, catching the fading light of evening. We step away before walking back to his sleek bike, drawing the lure's gaze as he sat with fluid ease. Inverse frail walk towards it as well, sitting onto it behind the burly physique of Elder. Her fair hand reaches out slowly as she grabs the leather jacket which man is wearing hesitantly. Her snowy hand made contact with rich fabric, but she did not stray further to touch the man's solid frame. Instead, she held onto outfit with a tentative grip, ensuring about safety as her trim, rubby fingers is sensible to make with soft touch, making girl appear more vulnerable and respectful. The leather is firm and supple, its surface slightly worn but still expansive, alluring can feel the subtle ridges beneath her trim rubby fingertips as she carefully grasps the fabric that offer her a reassuring sense of stability and secureness. We felt her delicacy in her innocent gestures to her carefulness. Everything is so pure and genuine that it felt like a piercing stab in his chest or a edge that came from the unawareness of how much her small act of trust meant to him. Athletic form, a slight grin at the corner of his lips that is subtle but sincere, a sign of impact that her slightest act had on him, and soon we engaged bike's throttle while engine responds with deep, powerful, breaking the silence of area. Even the smallest mannerism of her, from the cushion of her tender grip to the way her silky hair waved in the breeze, seems to highlight her inherent beauty. While she thinks how much male always show up at regular evenings silently, never overstepping, but always there for her. As the male prepared to drive, the movement from stillness to motion is seamless. With a final assurance, the vehicle began to move forward. The delicate form nestled more securely, flickering over the jacket as they came into the dark evening's embrace. The road ahead is engulfed in the soft glow of golden streetlight from different small shops, a warm golden hue over the path as they rode. The air around them brushed smoothly with the rhythm of heavy bike's engine, creating low roll to the quiet background. Bristine's presence with her naive gestures and the subtle beauty of her interaction seems to enhance the surroundings' warmness more, while the maid feeling his restless nerves getting calmed by the profound zeal that is inherited in the innocence of little ones. As the bike moves through the street, the round, bumpy eyes wander over the vibrant flowers and cityscape around them, the soft glow from the street lamps and shop windows, painting the atmosphere in a glowy light, filling it with details of charming features. Sparkling eyes watches everything with curiosity. During the athlete navigates the vehicle through city with his attention that is drawn to the mirror position at just right angle, capturing a view that is both beautiful and irresistible. Snowy faces illuminating by the warm glow of lights. Those starry eyes are filled with wonder and delight, trailing over the ambience of cafe and bakery near, softening her features further. Even the subtle glow is highlighting the curves of her cheeks to the neck, radiating her velvety skin. Shiny hair of lavender foam become a dynamic flowing elegant of the scenery as wind is gently playing with her each strand, causing it to move in a fluid, almost artless mannerism, swirling around her pearly fair face while some over her eyes in a graceful way. Some of her strays partially obscuring her brows but still adding touch of delicacy brushing against her forehead. The effect is incanting in a natural carefree movement from the breeze to the covering and revealing parts of her face is small inverses is harmony to the start before her. V's gaze shifts once again to the mirror where he finds himself impacted by the reflection of the frail being behind him holding onto his jacket in her small yet fragile fist, roaming her expensive eyes everywhere on road, making her features distorting in a way that is amusing in ominous Ob's vision. Inversion of pearly girl image is entrancing. We is seeing not just her form but the quiet grace and the boy she radiates. That is, though a small reverse, a reminder of sensitivity in her presence, sensing a deep possession that Brownie had never known before. The purity and ethereal quality air exuded evoked a powerful response within the heavy built chest. Harbinetti's presence always stirred something within him that is far off from any mere passion. He saw a rare treasure, unique or invaluable, that need to be protected and cherished. Unlike anything else Talbot had encountered, beloved essence felt like a precious gem that deserved both admiration and care, as she is not just a person to him but a blessing that he vowed as a stern responsibility to safeguard against all storms or even a slightest harm. Emotion of possessiveness is not born out of a desire to control but rather from a deep-seated need to ensure that frail one is honored and determined to preserve for its instinctive worth. The realization only deepened Elder's resolve to be a guardian or defender of a leading. Soon the bike turned its corner to stop in front of a house. As they approached their destination, Vi, who is still attentive, waits for her to dismount carefully. Just then Elliot slowly made move, making the brownie felt the gradual release of Frail's tender grip on leather jacket. Once she is safely on her feet, the man remained seated still over the sleek vehicle with his protective instinct that is evident in his posture and attentive gaze he held. The expression of lure are expensive about the care and flutter she had in her chest from the presence of defender near. I appreciate your assistance greatly. Thank you sincerely. I am glad I could assist. That the man's words reson in the quiet evening air. The girl felt a faint steadiness in her heart. The warmth and sincerity in his words had a gentle impact, and with a small curve up, she gave a slight nod for the kindness of assertive male. This gesture was a modest but carried an honest appreciation and the residual flutter of emotion. The tilt of her head conveyed her heartfelt thanks. With a gentle stirring of sense she felt and responsible to his attentiveness. Soon she finished her soothing act. She turned gracefully and began to walk towards the main entrance of her home. Her steps are measured and feathery, slender form is illuminating by the soft porch warm light. The wear air settled round her face, framing her features in an endearing manner, some strands softly brushing against her cheeks, highlighting the delicate contours of her face, while other fell across her forehead and the corner of her starry eyes in the way that drew attention of ominous gaze. When she reaches the door, she turned one last time to look back at him, seeing the men still waiting before she stepped inside the warm ambience of house, and with a gentle push she closed the door behind her. The soft thud is a sign of her safe arrival for Elder, who started the engine that roared lowly. His gaze took last look towards the side, while the movement petalic being's fingers gripped on his outwear in a admirable manner still craved in his mind. In some whiles the bike began to move, creating a rumble sleek engine through area. Few days later, Elder stepped inside, his once calm eyes dark and burning with a fierce intensity, as if steady composure he carried moments ago has been shattered. His gaze sweeps across the ambience and sealed on a sight that ignites the storm within him. There he saw a few seats away from delicate form sits a male fixing his gaze on her with a gaze far too instant for comfort. His fist tightened, clenching at the scenery as anger surged through him like a wildfire, jaw tightened, orbs narrowing in a dangerous form. Once calmness in Athlete's gaze now turned violently, reflecting the tempest of emotions threatening to explode. While the precious being is unaware of the situation, sits peacefully, his muscles tense beneath the leather jacket, highlighting his drag and buildness. Eluding his graceful poise, remain unaware from the other male's gaze few seats away. Divine's attention is fully absorbed in work. Her fingers are moving her over the keyboard of laptop. To her, the hall holds no danger or tension, but just the comforting silence of her own productivity. While for assertive men, each second is like a violation. As a ripping possessiveness gripped his burly chest, how could anyone have the audacity to look at pristine one this way? Hardened knuckles turned white under the presence. This is the fire he will not tolerate, no matter the consequence. The male on other side may not know what's coming, but the brownie feels the weight of decision settle over him like a cold steel, knowing well that what he is about to do could amplify. He would not allow anyone to disrespect the sanctity of vulnerable grips as we inhale his ragging breath deeply. Start with the intake breath moves. His long strides are deadly as the thud of heavy footstep against the polished floor is also threat to male near. Stuffed frame of resilient is coiled, ready to on like a predator closing in on its prey. In an instant, he reaches the male and grabs him by collar with his strong fingers that wrap around his neck like a vice, giving barely line time to for escape as he pulled up from his seat aggressively by the unyielding grip that pulls him off balance near the towering vitality of sturdy. And with forceful motion he slammed the male down onto the nearby table, pinning him there with a brutal thud while table rattled under the impact, scattering the papers in sudden chaos. Liu's eyes widened in terror when she turned her head at the sight behind her. His muscles in his arm rippled with tension as he holds the male down who is screaming beneath his presence, but it's not no use when he is trapped completely at the mercy of men's breath. Harry's bumpy eyes fill with worry and head hitching her breaths. Fierce man raises his fist and punch land with a sickening crack on the jaw of male, cracking his cheekbone, who let out a painful grunt. One after another rains down in him with no mercy, each hit fueled by the man's deep-seated need to protect and punish. The reservoir male face began to swell. Intestines are clenched painfully in her chest, sinking deeply as she watches the violent scene unfold before her as she saw the man as she admires, who had always been a source of strength and protectiveness for her, with his calm demeanor now on edge of ending someone in a relentless way. This side of Stalwart is brutally raw and merciless, a side she had never seen before or could barely comprehend. This is too violent for her tender heart, which could hardly process the depth of his anger and possessiveness. Her tears well up in divine eyes, threatening to spill as she gathers some courage. And with trembling hands she approaches near, desperate to pull assertive away from the male. Soon her cracked voice escaped out from parted lips. Please stop this week. Her fingers found the hard, tense muscle of his bicep as she tugged gently, hesitantly. Amidst the chaos, the vigor coursed through Brownie veins. He felt sudden but fragile connection that pierced through the anger. It was her starry eyes filled with worry and hurt, edge changing the scene in just instant that cut through the haze of his aggression. He could see her pleading gaze with concern, stabbing at the hard shell of worry that had confirmed him. Innocent face of younger is asking him to return to the man she knew, knowing well about the verge of athlete crossing a line that could go beyond more. The turmoil within him raged in, but with each zeal blink of fluid, the rush began to dissipate. His strong fist still raised in red lines to strike, while the male under him tries to raise his hand in a feeble attempt to shield himself, but Stalwart's immense hand still hovering in an air for a moment before he lowered the raw knuckles with steady breeze. This sight of his towering over the male on table male leading form shiver, never sense that there is a storm of intensity lurking beneath the surface of his calm exterior. The whole scenario was a side of him she had never seen before. Sinless eyes met with the fierce one, and she prayed that Elder would hear her, that her presence could pull him back from the brink of possessiveness, and this was enough for men to take a step back from the chaos. The intensive stare of Elder sealed on the unreal feature of younger, who once felt as if nothing could intervene to stop him from delivering in the aggressive chaos whiles ago. But then, amid the scene and adrenaline coursing through his veins, he felt a sudden fragile connection but spark through the rage, and it was her glimmer of light in the scenario, her innocent glossy eyes filled with pearls which shimmered like crystals, reflecting unfoundable purity within. Each tear slipped down her cheeks, felt like an edge probing at the hard shell of worry that had confirmed him. The depth of her emotions spread through the possessiveness, clouding his mind with each low sniff and breath. She tried to convey her fear and passion, hoping Brownie would calm. Assertive could not look away from those starry, soulful eyes that had always been his solace. In them he found a peace he could not put into words, or a calm that soothed the relentless in his nerves. It all vanished, if only for a moment, whenever he stepped into their depths. Pearly, being remained silent through her rosy lips, did not part to ask the question, but it's already on display over her face, searching with an mannerism that only innocence can carry, seeking her answers on yearning to know what had sparked the aggression that had flared in him just moments ago. As if waiting for Elder to fill the silence, even her divine ops asked for what her voice did not to convey. Who is aware of her spoken words, asking him to explain the fury she had witnessed in his clenched jaw and the tension in muscles, completely obvious of the passion men unshowed. He never spoke about what she truly meant to him. Always words sat heavy in his chest to not shatter the delicacy or sensitive heart of Liu in any way. He acted like he could keep his ardor hiding buried beneath his calm, resonant exterior, but his aggression had already told her somehow. His actions betrayed him because he cared too deeply, and it could never hide it fully, as if made it more obvious. Every ounce of his act spoke aloud what his heart could not say, and so soon luminous eyes fell over the man's reddened yet deep swollen knuckles, sending flicker through her chest. Her heart squeezed and fingers crossed, wanting to reach out to press the darkened skin. Just then she parted her lips in a steady way, speaking softly. What happened there? Why did you fight with him? She asked in low voice with tenderness and weariness within. I could not tolerate your disrespect in any way, and I did not like it. He stated, placed in resonant voice that echoed in silence. His action was not out of cruelty, but assertiveness of wanting to protect something so precious to him. It's his way to pushing the world away only to make her feel secure. His strong veiny hands resting on his side, getting eyed by a vulnerable eyes overleading with fluttered chest, not knowing how to expose her own zeal to the unyielding frame standing before her. I'll defend you against all odds from my impenetrable fortress of passion. I'll do that to the death only to ensure your peace and serenity. However, Delicate's presence stirred something powerful inside Elder. She never sensed the desire of man buried deeply in dark of somewhere. Liu, not being able to gather some words to describe her emotions to Brownie, and with hesitant moves her rubby fingertips reaches the air just above reddened hard hand of man as the warmth of her snowy hand come in contact with the cold dry one. The fragile fingers wrapped lightly around the strong hand. She was assumed by the sharp difference between both of them. One side is her fair glowy skin, and other side is worn and veiny, one that reacts gently against the radiant one, only to not cause any harm to its frailty. Despite assertive allowed her gentle touch, throw remained silent, and small hand on breast one is gentle of care, case of care or and soothe that no words could explain, radiating from her tiniest serene full act, spreading and warmth like a bliss through we reaching deeply into his chest in a repositioning manner. Athlete resolved fasten he would shield her from every sorrow or pain that could come her way. He'll ensure that her gracefulness would never shatter, even it is if it meant standing against anyone. She would never know any kind of hurt or displeasure, but always remain is filled with warmth and their attachment.